There's a specific thing that happens when you try to flirt in person after years of doing it through a screen. It's not that you forget what to say. It's that everything you think of saying feels like a line, even when it isn't. You think of something genuine, something true, something you actually mean, and the moment you imagine saying it out loud, it already sounds rehearsed. So you say nothing, and then the moment passes, and you're left with the specific low-grade disappointment of having been present for something that could have started and didn't. If that's a familiar feeling, not just once but consistently, this video is specifically about that. Not about how to be more confident. Not about what to say to make someone like you, about why it feels like performance in the first place, and what changes when you finally understand that. By the end of this, you'll have a clear sense of what genuine in-person initiation actually looks like, why it stopped feeling available, and what to do differently the next time the moment is there. Let's start with something that almost nobody says out loud. The reason in-person flirting feels unnatural right now is not because you became someone who can't do it. It's because the environment you've been practicing connection in for the last several years was built on a completely different structure, and your social calibration followed it. Think about what the apps actually gave you. Time, distance, control. You could feel something, put it into words, read it back, adjust it, and then send it. You could express interest without your voice doing anything, without your face giving anything away before you were ready, without the 2-second window where the other person sees you deciding whether to speak. That's not nothing. That's a completely different risk structure. On an app, expressing interest costs almost nothing. A swipe, a message, a reply. In person, it costs something immediate and visible. Your composure, your face, the next 30 seconds of physical proximity if it lands wrong. Research on this consistently points to something interesting. People who use dating apps heavily over time report lower real-world social confidence in romantic contexts. Not because they became less capable, but because they stopped practicing in the environment where the stakes feel real. The skill didn't disappear. It just got calibrated for a different interface. That matters, because it means what you're dealing with isn't a character flaw. It's not evidence that you're awkward by nature or that the ease other people seem to have was always out of reach for you. It's lag. It's the specific lag of someone who's been doing something one way for long enough that switching modes takes a moment. The pattern doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean you're someone this doesn't come naturally to. It means you've been operating in an environment that removed the low-stakes repetitions that keep the skill warm. And now you're re-entering a space where those repetitions are available again. That's the beginning of the whole thing. Here's where most content on this topic goes wrong, and why, if you've tried to follow it, it probably made things worse rather than better. The standard advice for in-person flirting is performance-based. Hold eye contact for 3 seconds, then look away. Use open body language. Lead with a compliment. Ask an open-ended question, and here's the problem with all of it. The moment you're monitoring your own behavior for technique compliance, you've already lost the thing that makes connection actually work. Because connection, real connection, the kind that actually moves somewhere, doesn't happen in the gap between you and the technique you're executing. It happens in the gap between you and the other person, and those two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. When you are inside your own head asking, "Am I doing this right?" you are, by definition, not actually present with the person in front of you. And they feel that. Not consciously. Not as a critique. They just feel the absence of it. The conversation has a faint glass wall running through it, and neither of you can quite say why. This is why the previous attempts felt hollow, even when you technically did the right things. Not because you did them wrong, because the frame was wrong. You were trying to execute a performance well enough that it would produce a feeling of genuine connection. And genuine connection specifically cannot be produced by performance. Anyone who's been there knows this. You can say exactly the right words and feel nothing happen. And you can say something slightly fumbling and imperfect and feel the whole room shift. The difference isn't the words. The difference is what was underneath them. So here's the reframe. And this is the part that's going to feel simple in a way that might initially seem too simple. Flirting, at its most basic level, is not performance. It is attention made legible. Let that sit for a second. Attention made legible. It is the act of noticing something specific about a specific person, and then making that noticing visible to them. Not a line, not a technique, not a script, just you noticed something real and you let it show. That's it. That is the entire mechanism, which means the question you've been asking, "What should I say?" is actually the wrong question. The right question is, What have I actually noticed? Because here's what almost never gets said about the people who seem naturally good at this. They are not running better material. They are paying genuine attention and then doing something most people are too self-protective to do, which is let it be visible. The person who makes you feel seen in a 90-second conversation at a party isn't running a technique. They're just actually looking at you. And that the actual looking is something you already know how to do. You've been doing it your whole life with people you love. You do it with your friends when they're telling you something that matters. You do it with strangers when they say something that surprises you. The capacity is there. It was never gone. What the app era did was give you a safer place to express it. Safer because it was mediated, slower, lower stakes. And in doing that, it created a small but real hesitation in the moment when that same energy wants to move in real time. The emotional climax is this. The thing you've been trying to perform is something you already know how to feel. You just stopped trusting that it would translate. 3 specific orientations, not scripts, not tactics, that make this translation easier. First, lead with curiosity, not impression management. The internal shift is from how am I coming across to what's actually interesting about this person right now. Those 2 questions cannot be held simultaneously. Choose the second one. Every time. Second, say the specific thing, not the safe thing. I like your energy is safe. The way you described that made me want to hear what you think about everything is specific. Specific is not more vulnerable. It's more accurate. And accuracy is what makes the other person feel seen rather than processed. Third, let the awkward moment be part of it. The fumble, the slight pause, that came out wrong, but you know what I mean. None of that kills the connection. What kills the connection is the overcorrection. The nervous laugh that says, please don't hold that against me. The apology for having tried. The moment you treat your own imperfect initiation as evidence of failure, you've handed the other person an interpretation they didn't have before. Let it be imperfect. Imperfect is human. Imperfect is actually one of the primary signals that something is real. If this video opens something you want to take into actual conversations, real frameworks for specific real-world moments, not just the orientation but the actual language, there's a resource in the description built exactly for that. 8 specific contexts, from the casual encounter to the first real conversation, with approaches that feel like yours rather than a script. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Let's make this concrete. 3 scenarios. Not hypotheticals, but the exact situations this audience actually finds themselves in, and what the internal shift looks like inside each one. The first, the brief encounter. The bookstore. The coffee shop counter. The elevator. The window is small, maybe 30 seconds. And the old instinct is to let it pass because there's not enough time to do it right. Here's what the shift looks like. You're not trying to start something. You're just making a small moment of actual contact. One observation, one genuine thing. That's a serious reading list because you actually noticed what they were carrying. Not a line. A true thing you actually noticed, made audible. If it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, the 30 seconds passes and you're both fine. The goal isn't outcome. The goal is practice in letting the noticing be visible. The second, the social setting where you already have time. The party, the gathering, the friend of a friend situation. The old pattern here is often to wait for an obvious opening, something that feels safe enough to say without risk, and then miss it because nothing felt safe enough. The shift, you don't need a perfect opening. You need a genuine one. Walk up while something interesting is happening and engage with the interesting thing, not with the person as a target. I couldn't help overhearing, what was the argument you were just making, is not a line. It's someone who was actually listening. Be someone who was actually listening. The third, and this one matters, is the follow-up moment. The conversation that went well, the one you've had 100 times on apps but don't know how to close in person. Here's what freezing in this moment actually is. It's the app habit waiting for the safety of the screen before committing to anything. The shift is small, it doesn't require a grand move. It just requires saying the true thing out loud instead of waiting to type it later. I'd genuinely like to keep talking to you. Can I get your number? Not smooth, not a performance, just accurate. You've probably already felt this part. The moment where you knew exactly what you wanted to say and didn't say it. That isn't weakness. That's a hesitation that developed in a very specific environment and now gets in your way in a different one. The next time the moment is there, say the specific thing, not the safe thing. The specific thing, that's it. That's the whole move. If you want to go further, the actual language for 8 specific real-world contexts, built for the person who knows the orientation but needs the words. The link in the description is the next step. It's the resource built for exactly what this video opened. Think about the last time you let a moment pass. What was the specific thing you almost said, and what stopped you? One thing before you go, not a system. Not a promise that this gets easy immediately. One thing. The next time you're in a moment where you feel the pull to say something, where you've actually noticed something specific about a specific person, and something in you wants to let it be visible. Do this one thing before you let the moment pass. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say true? Not clever, not smooth, not well-timed. Just, is it true? Because here's the thing that the performance-based advice always gets backward. The reason in-person flirting feels ridiculous isn't that you don't know what to say, it's that you've been trying to say the right thing instead of the true thing. And the right thing, the thing that's calibrated for impact, optimized for impression, always sounds like a line. Because it is one, the true thing. The specific observation, the real question, the thing you actually noticed, never sounds like a line. Because it isn't one. You came into this video carrying a story about yourself, probably something like, I used to be better at this, or I've never really been good at this, or other people have something I don't. Here's what I want to leave you with instead. What you've been experiencing is the specific lag of someone who got very good at expressing genuine feeling through one medium and is now relearning how to let it move in real time. That's not a personality verdict. That's a recalibration. And recalibrations happen through small, imperfect repetitions. Not through performing confidence you don't yet feel, not through executing techniques you memorized, but through letting the true thing be said in the moment when it's true. The next time the moment is there, say the specific thing. Let it be imperfect. Let it be true. That is the beginning of the whole thing.